working? And let's go live. Video.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chattanooga versus hip-hop panel. With first like the versus hip-hop.
Wow.
First, like to take the time out to thank Arts Bill for allowing us to use their platform to have this discussion. And I'm Mikey. Some people know me as Micah Real, Micah Chapman. I'm co-founder of HipHop CHA, also social media coordinator, content creator for Chatterbox Cafe, a local restaurant here in Chattanooga. We'll go down the road. Everybody introduce yourself.
I'm Iggy. I'm an artist, but I also have a podcast that I mostly do. It's called Iggy's Live My Podcast here. It's on all platforms. You can look for me there. And I'm involved with the Chattanooga Hip Hop for the Hip Hop Week.
We're trying to figure out how to stop sharing our screen. We're sharing our screen. We need to go back to video. It ain't working, but y'all can keep talking. People are listening.
Okay.
They're just not seeing you.
Okay.
Right on. When y'all see me, I guess. J-Flo, artist, purveyor of musical arts and shows for the city of Chattanooga, curator of the Simp Gatsby Show, owner of a Dead Panda Collective clothing and sneaker line. And I'm just a fan of the culture, a member of the culture, a teacher of the culture, and a student of the culture, I guess you could say.
C-Grimey, artist, arts educator, activist, do arts and culture classes around the community, been making and creating hip hop for almost 2 decades, and try to continue to move forward in the spirit of the ancestors, bringing the Black community together and uplifting my brothers and sisters. Cheer.
Cool. So we're gonna pause for a minute and make sure we're not having any technical difficulties or anything before we continue.
Just go ahead and get some whole music going.
Yeah, you can. You can play some music while we
Something
get our. I see our sound going on his computer, but I'm
My
not
favorite
sure.
song on there is Jonah or Jesus Lord.
Yeah, Jalen trying to have the best verse.
I think that's Kanye. That might be his best version. I got a jam.
We'll listen to some music so y'all get this video together. And if not, we'll just go ahead. So welcome to the Chattanooga versus hip hop panel. Like I said before, we'd like to show our appreciation to Arts Bill for allowing us to use their platform to have this discussion. I am Mikey Real, also known, well, my real name, Micah Chapman, not known as. So Micah Chapman, also known as Mikey Real, co-founder of Hip Hop CHA, social media content and creator of content at Chatterbox Cafe, local restaurant here in Chattanooga.
Iggy. I am a hip hop artist here, but my main focus and reason why I'm here is I also have a podcast. It's called Iggy's Live My Podcast. Been doing it for about 2 years. I sit down with various entrepreneurs, artists, business owners, on the podcast, and we kind of keep the focus around Chattanooga, but also worldly events going on as well. So you can find that on all platforms. Once again, that's Iggy's Loud Mouth Podcast. Happy to be here to discuss some hip hop.
Passion. J-Flo, local artist, curator of hip hop shows, student, mentor maybe to some, creative, owner of Dead Panda Collective, clothing and sneaker line, just a fan and a student of the culture. Happy to be here, happy to share some opinions and maybe some education if it comes to it.
C-Grimey, artist, arts educator, activist, and same like my brothers, man. Just a student of the game, hip hop baby, born loving this art form, and glad to be part of the legacy of hip hop.
Yes, sir.
So this panel focuses on the equity of hip hop in Chattanooga and this music scene that's in Chattanooga. So the key takeaways we're going to discuss today are understanding the culture of hip hop, also how to utilize hip hop in the arts community, and also the resources that hip hop artists need to thrive in Chattanooga. So the first question, I want to start with Flo because he mentioned a little bit about this earlier. What does the hip hop culture mean to you? Like, how do you describe hip hop culture?
That honestly, culture. It's about, to me, I feel hip hop is one of the unsung heroes of modern culture that kind of goes under the radar, but it's responsible for the influence of a lot of things that we enjoy, can be traced down to one of the four crucial elements of the four pillars of hip hop, which is, MCing, b-boying, graffiti, and DJing. And no matter where you go, no matter what movie you see, what music festival you're at, how you see commercials market, movie soundtracks, clothing, walk, talk, mannerism, everything can be traced down to the influence of hip hop. So to me, it's the culture. It's the essence of a certain group of people that continue to get overlooked by mainstream media and mainstream corporate America, but is responsible for influencing so much of what they benefit from. It's the hip hop is the news, it's the weather, it's the current events, it's the traffic, it's a one-stop shop for everything that you need to hear for that side of the plane, and that culture and that population of people. It's our one-stop shop for all things inclusive.
I agree. I agree. Grimy, what you think? How would you describe hip hop culture?
Yeah, man, to piggyback off of that, it's just another example of an oppressed demographic overcoming when they were taking music classes out of the schools, when they made musical instruments expensive. We took the technology that was around to chop up old records and make break beats and start hip hop, making a way out of no way and creating a genre of music that is consumed all around the world in abundance. And it's just a furthering of, the culture, black culture, brown culture that, is so influential all around the world. And, it's just a beautiful thing. And like J-Flo was saying, when it comes down to the essence of hip hop, whether it's the arts, whether it's the music, fashion, all different aspects of just culture, all mixed into it.
Iggy, how would you describe hip hop culture?
Hip hop culture, I don't know. Hip hop for me is like it's an identity for me personally, because a lot of my first memories are around hip hop. Like my dad, one of the first bad things I happened, my dad, he got his cassette tape stolen from his car, and I'm talking like 200 cassettes, LL Cool J, Run DMC. You know what I mean? So like, and I remember riding in the back of that Nissan and him playing those cassette tapes. And then like, I remember him recording, Juicy video and Method Man, and Mary J. Blige and stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff helped build me for who I am today, how I get my identity, how I get my information. how I get, my story. Because, however, in hip hop, especially as a minority, you're gonna attach to some story in hip hop at some point. So, I just feel like the culture itself, it means so much, definitely to America, but now worldwide. You know what I mean? I had the opportunity to be in Germany serving in the military, and hip hop is heavy over there. You know what I mean? They still stuck in early 2000 a little bit, but it's still there. You know what I mean? Like, it's super heavy. A lot of artists make sure that they go out to Germany and Netherlands and France and stuff like that. And it's just, you can feel it. Like, when they come up to you, that's kind of the first thing that they associate with you as a Black American is hip hop. So it's just cool to see, and I think that that's what it means to me personally, is that it just kind of help identify me. Partially, obviously, I have a lot of other things that identify me, but that's definitely a big part of who I am.
Yeah, I agree with everything all three of y'all said. To me, the culture of hip hop, it's like something that's like Flo said, that it's like that one stop shop. It's something that it's gonna continue to happen, and it's never stopping. You know what I mean? I can always remember being in school, and some teachers or some of the elders would say, this is only gonna last until about 5 years.
For
You know,
sure.
10 years. Like, you ain't gonna know who no Jeezy is when you grown and all this and that. So it's like for us to be in that time and then see how it evolved to be this still one stop shop for all people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with everything you guys said. Next question I want to get dig into is, do you think the art of hip hop is appreciated in Chattanooga? Why or why not? We can start with Iggy and go down.
No. I mean, no, not really. The reason why is because there's not there's not a lot of coverage, there's not a lot of outlets, there's not a lot of platforms for up and coming hip hop artists. We have the studio now at the library. Obviously, that's been a big source. But even just performance space, practice space, um, a lot of those things, it's not really highlighted. It's almost like, and it's growing here, like huge. You know what I mean? So like, but you don't really hear about it unless you're with us or you're with people in the community. Outside of that, like, you just meet a regular Chattanooga person, they're not gonna really identify with the hip hop. So I don't think that. I would like to see it become a bigger thing. I would like to see it become more of a focal point for the city, because I think it's a bright light for the city, because there's a lot of youth involved with hip hop. And if you can tie them in and kind of teach them ways to not only use hip hop for music, but also for business, for enterprise, blah, 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 then you can definitely lead to some other things. So.
Flo?
I'm gonna echo Iggy and say no, but with an asterisk with my no. I feel like hip hop is appreciated in privacy by demographics.
Gotcha.
Because I mean, if we look at statistics, the majority of hip hop is consumed by Caucasians.
Yeah.
But it's in the safety. Is it appreciated in public? No, because I think people tend to hone in on a certain aspect of hip hop that's damaging to the public relation of it, and they stick with that. That's all they care to see. But they'll get home and their kids are playing that same element that they choose to shun. And it's okay for their kids to do it at home, or okay for their kids to do it at summer camp or at the Blue Hole, or in certain subdivisions. But when you have to see face to face with the people that create this content and see the issues and the problems and the realities that they face, that appreciation tends to diminish, because once you understand something, you have a responsibility to it. And I think a lot of people don't want that responsibility, because it forces you to look on the other side of that mirror and see what people are experiencing, not just the bounce and the party music and what gets you hype on your way to Coachella, or what gets you hype at Rolling Loud, seeing what these individuals have to go through on a day-to-day basis. So due to that divide and the demographic of the city that we live in, it's not appreciated unless you come to where the culture lives.
Gotcha.
And where the culture lives, people don't feel as safe.
Gotcha.
But instead of them going on a limb and trying to witness that firsthand, they just go based off of what they hear. Oh, I hear it's not safe, so it must not be.
Mm-hmm.
But the sources are tainted,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So no. No.
Grimy.
Well, I'm gonna say yes and no, and echo what's a lot of the things that my brothers said. You know, if you come from the culture, and if you appreciate the culture, and are willing to be a willing participant, you know, it's because we know we've all put together events and done different things around the city and abroad, so we know that people are yearning for the hip hop culture. But when you look at it on a mainstream level, and the way, in contrast, how other things are supported in the community,
Rubber band, Nightfall.
Yes.
yes, you know,
Yes,
we
thank you.
don't get that same love because, like my brother said, there's a stigma, there's a stereotype that comes with hip hop, and people are people with power, people with resources look at one subgenre or small subgenres of the whole genre of hip hop and base their assumptions all on that, you know. And just like anything with that involve humans that become famous and have access to resources, man, everybody doesn't make good decisions. But when a country music star does something stupid, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
they don't put that on the whole genre of the music and stereotype every person that's a part of that. So and we see here in the city, there's not many venues that accept and support hip hop, and because when you support that and you put on events when that demographic is coming, then you have to be able to accept the culture, because you know things are different when different people come to do their thing. And so yeah, yes and no. If you're from the culture, if you're a part of it, you definitely are yearning for that. But when it comes to having the support and of like that we see with other things, like my brother said, these festivals, you know, we've even seen some of the small family festivals that we've had stripped away from the city, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no reason why a Bessie Smith strut shouldn't be supported and revamped. There's
Yeah.
no reason why the Big Nine Festival shouldn't be supported and revamped, and make sure that it's a big thing every year, for so everybody in different demographic has their representation.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason any night spot in Chattanooga should be able to have a hip hop night where that's the playlist, but you don't appreciate the culture as in booking an act, or even letting an act pay you to use the building.
Mm.
It's like you're okay with mitigated risk of benefiting from it, but not helping employ or helping further the portfolio of the people that really live what you're profiting from.
Yeah.
Which is one of my biggest issues.
Yeah, they'll take a calculated risk and profit off of it, but won't help the up and coming people that come directly from the
From the
culture
city.
do the same thing.
So from our experience, because all four of us have done our own events, our own local
Yeah.
shows, tried to work with local music venues.
Yeah.
So from our experience, why is it that hip hop don't get a fair shot or equal opportunity in Chattanooga? From just personal experience.
I think there's an underlying perception that if you book hip hop, it's gonna bring a certain energy, and which I don't believe in. And it's been shown multiple times that that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the times, at least with venues, I remember when we had when I first got back to the city in like 2015. There was a lot more venues for hip hop. Like a lot more is obvious. Something was going on every weekend. And then just like, I don't know, maybe a couple years after that, maybe 2017, 2018, it was like 5 or 6 venues that just cut hip hop completely off. And I don't really know why that was the case, because during that time, there was not really any. I mean, there was some stuff going on at the living room, I think, but outside of that, like local hip hop things that was happening, it wasn't none of that stuff going on. So I think there's a perception there. I think, I don't really know outside of that, other than just, maybe hip hop is not deemed serious enough. I don't know. I mean, I've never really spoke to people that do that. I'm just going off perception. So that's how I feel.
Ali, before they answer the question, how do you think we change that perception as the culture?
Shoot. I mean, like I said, we've been doing the shows and they've been successful. They've been raising money. They've done, I've done a show where I raised some money. I've done a show where we've had like 20 local artists brought in good money, no problems at all. So like, I don't really know what else we can do other than just keep our foot on their neck.
Stay consistent.
Yeah, stay consistent and show them that this is what we about. This is what it is. We can definitely bring some success in the city by doing this. Other than that, we just guys keep our foot on their neck, to be honest with you, and kind of kick in the door. That's how I feel.
Flo, why you think hip hop don't get a fair opportunity or equal opportunity in Chattanooga?
No, because I like saying stuff that makes people feel uncomfortable.
Oh,
So if you
yeah.
really want to know, go to any local news article and look at the comments, especially when it deals with issues of race relations. Look at the comments. Matter of fact, go look at any article that deals with Afghan refugees in America right now, and just look at what some people say about individuals that are different from them or different than what they feel comfortable around, even though they know nothing about them. And that'll tell you a lot about where we live and how far back we actually are, in contrast to what people may think. I think at a high level, majority likes to pick certain instances as progression, right? They'll say, we had a black president, or we have a half black vice president that's also a woman. They'll look at that at a very high level, but they don't look at local government. They don't look at the police force. They don't look at the teachers. They don't look at the people that make the decisions for the city and the budget for the city. They don't look at where that money goes, right? So they take the damaging aspects of black and brown culture and they use that as ammunition to stay away from it. They don't see the other 89% of law-abiding citizen, people that create for arts and culture and children, people that are donating money out of their pocket to local schools and throwing concerts for local schools to help the kids who are also white have school supplies. They don't want to see that. They want to see something that feeds and keeps the ignorance, because ignorance is not knowing. They want to feed the ignorance because ignorance is bliss. If you don't know about it, you don't have guilt. You don't have responsibility. You don't have anything that tugs at your heartstrings to be like, I should probably be doing something, if you just don't know.
Yeah.
So as long as they don't know, you can continue to play whatever it is that you want to play. You can go to Regan's and hear the baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you'll never go to Regan's and see the baby.
Yeah.
And like I'll say this, thank God for the Camp House. That's one of the only venues that looked at me and said, we're willing to take a chance on you. And they gave me the price. I paid them the price. And I threw 9 shows with them. I tried to go to Palace Theater. They tried to make me pay extra because it was a hip hop show. I tried to go to Revelry Room. They tried to make me pay extra because it was a hip hop show.
Revelry Room was like that.
Track 29, if I wasn't mainstream, wouldn't even entertain it.
Yep.
So you're marginalized before you even start. So how do you run a race when everyone else is given a head start, and then they tell you to go, but they put a parachute on your back?
Yeah.
So you running against the wind and against the head start, and they turn around and say, well, why aren't you running faster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grimey, why don't hip hop get a equal opportunity in Chattanooga?
Oh, shit, I don't even need to say nothing else, man. Shit.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
We live in a city that is unfortunate. In 2021, we still see a lot of the same sentiments from the 1950s, man. And it's a mix of stereotyping and demonizing black culture, and a mix of a legacy of white supremacy that doesn't want to see black entrepreneurship be successful. I'll just be frank with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what has to happen is that we, like my brother Flo said, we got to have a holistic look at the community and why are some of these things happening, and we have to put the support and resources not only to hip hop entertainment, arts education, but the Black community as a whole. You know what I mean? And one thing that can be easily done is support the arts, support hip hop, support entrepreneurs and up and coming businesses. You know, that's one of the first easy steps that the community, the arts community, and the Chattanooga community as a whole can do. Support hip hop and the arts. People who are making safe spaces for people to celebrate, enjoy each other, network, and people who are going in the community and doing the work to be the change that they want to see, man. So yeah, until we fix that, hip hop won't get a fair run.
Yeah, it's a deeper issue, I think.
But it's a deeper issue. But on the surface, yes, it's the stereotype typing of what a hip hop show could be, but often what it is not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. So dig into the next question. We'll move to the next question. We'll start with Grammy. What's your biggest obstacle as just a hip hop artist in Chattanooga? Like, what did you have to overcome to even not just to get a show here or get heard here, but like that one thing that just left you blank as an artist? Like, man, we ain't got no direction in Chattanooga for that.
Yeah, being in a smaller market, and being in a southern town that has some of them old ways. It's a lot of social conscious obstacles you got to deal with. Then you got the obstacles of resources, the access to affordable studios, like my man was saying. And lately, in the last couple of years, we've been seeing a greater influx. Shout out to all of the studios popping up. Too many to name, but that as well as when you can't do the little things like have pop-ups, have these chitlin circuit, so to speak, hole in the wall venues that we see other cities have, to where up and coming artists can start. It makes it hard to get your art out there, and it makes it harder to start that following that can ultimately push you out there to the region and then nationwide. You know what I mean? If and so the venues, it makes it a big problem on a multiple scale, because those small little hole in wall venues are opportunity not only for up and coming artists to get their stuff out there, but then to sell their little merch at their little merch table.
Yeah.
To make those relationships and then to hone their skills and work on being a live performer. So that one thing, having support for the arts on the surface, makes it a big holistic problem, man. So one thing that helped that I when I was up and coming to negate that was you gotta use all the resources you have at home, and then you gotta spread your wings and get up out the city a little bit and bring that game that you find elsewhere back.
Dig it. Flo.
I'm gonna let Iggy go.
Okay, Iggy.
So I think there's quite a bit of things, honestly. I think one of the first things for sure is resources. Like you said, the studios are starting to pop up, but that was a big stepping stone. You either got to learn it yourself or know somebody that knows what they're doing. For the longest time, it was radio.
Still is,
in my opinion. But
I didn't even mention that.
But radio,
touch on that, brother.
They, and I think this as a whole, but I really put radio and DJs on this because DJs' jobs are to put on artists. Your job is to be in the streets. Your job is to be seeing who's buzzing, who doing the work, all that shit. And you don't really see that from the DJs here, that especially that's connected to the radio. It's more focused on the mainstream. It's more focused on the money. Can you buy your way in? Are you coming with the platform or whatever? And it's not about the underground. It's not about the cats that's grinding and putting them on in a certain light. So that was one of the biggest things for me for a long time, and still is, honestly. And then just like we're talking about, the spaces, the opportunity to perform consistently, and be able to showcase consistently artists as myself or as anybody else. I just feel like the city in general doesn't do a good job at supporting local. They all wanted to, they're all about bringing other people in. They all about bringing people from Atlanta, Nashville, all that. But the talent here is just as good or maybe even better. And the people that leave here or the people that's from here that are doing well now have had to leave here and then bring it back. And then that's when the city's like, oh yeah, they from Chattanooga, come back. And it's like, I mean, y'all didn't do nothing for them while they was here. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's probably the biggest thing for me as an artist, and somewhat so as a podcast too, but definitely as an artist. I would say number one though, the radio. I think I have a profound irritation with that, and I've had that for some time now. So I just feel like we got to put some pressure on these radio stations around here, and you know what I mean, stop being about all the silly shit that they do and beefing with each other. Like, put your focus on the artists here and do it like that. So
Third time's the charm. Let's go, Flo.
I mean, I said it because I tend to be long-winded, so I didn't want people to be like, "Well, I'm gonna just piggyback off of one." I want their original thoughts. But, I don't really believe in obstacles so much. I don't believe in obstacles when they're purposely put there. A true obstacle should be unknown.
Yeah.
It should just happen.
So it should be a stumbling block.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for real.
iceberg hitting the Titanic.
Yeah.
Is an obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody laying a mine and not telling you that there's a minefield in front of you is not an obstacle. It's a booby trap.
Yeah.
I feel there's a level of fear that causes a divide between demographics. On one side, you have people that have a fear to give you a chance for fear of liability, loss of profit, bad press, opinions of their family, and it causes them to marginalize that group, and I don't want to call any venues out like Bella Vita, who had multiple homicides and was able to remain open.
Yeah.
Sky Zoo, multiple homicides, it remains open.
Yeah.
But if a fight breaks out at a black venue, it's under scrutiny for years. And it's all because the powers that be that own said venues that are able to maneuver within the system and around the system because they're part of it, but also from our side, there's a fear of learning the aspect of the business of hip hop, not just the art of it, but the business to where you can sit down with a venue and present a professional package to kind of mitigate some of that irrational fear. I'm gonna call it irrational. So there's work that can be done on both sides, but I also feel that ego plays a big part in it. Chattanooga is a small city, so it creates a small mindset in regards to opportunity and the funnel to get out. We think that there's a funnel, but it's not. It's just it's an archway. Multiple people can go through at the same time. But we look at some of the generations before us and some of the people that didn't get that shot and the opportunity. So when we see a moment that it takes a village aspect goes away, and it's every man for himself. I don't want to go in too deep of what I did with my shows, but my show was created around other creatives. And I feel like the ego of not wanting other Chattanooga artists to perform with you, or not wanting this person here, or not wanting you to play this person's set during yours, it creates a battlefield within ourselves. It creates a battle royal where a lot of y'all kids play Fortnite. It's like we playing Fortnite in our own community. You start off with 100 people and you're thinking there can only be one winner, and that's just not the case with this race. So I say a mix of irrational fear and ego on both sides leads to degradation within the community and within the culture, to where everybody's just trying to outrun each other instead of running a race together.
Exactly. So Grimey and Iggy, y'all mentioned resources. Just name one resource. I know yours might be radio, since that was the obstacle for you. And we have 1.5 radio station I say that's focused on hip hop. 1.5 because that one come in and out when they want to. So we got 1.5 radio stations that kind of hip hop centric. So what do you mean? Because I'm sure that's your resource. How do you think that resource would like help Chattanooga or hip hop in Chattanooga?
We know what radio can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I know we know, but
But
they don't.
I mean, where do you hear any of your music? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can. I mean, we have streaming services now, and we have playlists now, but the general public still listens to the radio, and still consumes their radio, and then that's where you get plays at at different events. Say a sporting event or something like that. Like that's how you're getting that stuff. So to be on the radio, not only would it mean something on that level, but just having the city radio support some local dude that listened to y'all as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I can speak to myself. Like if I hear myself on the radio and I've been listening to this radio, I've been hearing 3 6 Mafia, I've been hearing T.I., I've been hearing Jeezy, and now I get to hear Iggy Shine on the radio. Like that would build confidence in a young artist to be like, all right, now it's serious. Then we can start learning the hip hop business. Then you can start learning the parameters, how to build merch, how to build your fan base, how to, build tour. All of that stuff starts to me from those kind of outlets, appreciating the art and appreciating the music that's been created in the city. And like I said before, like it's the DJ's job. That's one of the DJ's job is to put on artists. You know what I mean? From the jump of hip hop, you didn't see a rapper without a DJ attached to him in the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? And going into the 90s, even still, now it's producers and rappers. It's the same thing, but that's the DJ's job. You know what I'm saying? So like, get on your job.
Every other city does it too.
Every other city, Atlanta,
city.
Every other.
But one thing we got to look at is that it's a hip hop station, but who is the owner? Who's the administrators? Who you know what I'm saying?
True. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? We have to start thinking about creating black owned, black led media.
But it's still black people in those seats. And that have
not the ones making the decisions though. They just work there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard when it's kind of hard to pose scrutiny, which I do agree with you wholeheartedly. But it's kind of hard to pose scrutiny on the employees that don't make the decisions. And I feel we no longer have enough people that are willing to risk the comfortability of that occupation.
Exactly.
Or the comfortability of anything for a bigger picture, bigger than themselves. Am I willing to lose my radio job by sneaking on a couple extra tracks a month? Am I willing to do that? And then if it goes in, we're stuck in this quid pro quo culture. I'm not going to do for you unless I know you're going to do for me. So what am I getting out of this? So if you got a car full of selfish people trying to pick somewhere to eat, y'all gonna be driving for a while. Because nobody's willing to compromise and say, okay, let's do what you want, and we'll put mine on the tail end. We'll put my agenda on the back end for right now. Because I know it'll all be worth it. If it's not worth it right now, what I'm doing it for?
Exactly. Grimey, what's your that resource you think that will help hip hop in Chattanooga?
Everybody, there's some great content creators and performers, but we need many more people who are more technically trained behind the boards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
If we, one of the biggest blessings I had in my career is I had an engineer who was, while he was in school, we started working together. We was both young, and he was in school learning engineering. And so we got to grow together, him as on the technical side, me as an artist, but having somebody that was, not only was that their hobby and their thing but that was also, they were getting technically trained at that craft. And so if we can get some more engineers and we gotta start
funding.
We gotta start funding and messing with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like Gucci Mane and Zay started their thing because they was messing with each other. In the basement, and Zay had a sound, Gucci had a sound. Let's build this thing together. We need to see more of that
Collaboration.
more collaboration, and not just with producers and engineers and artists, but visuals, management, brand creation, all of that, man. Let's it takes a village, it takes a team. So we got to get more people more technically trained on all aspects. Learn about being. Don't just say I'm a manager, homeboy. Learn about it. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely think I agree with that. I think this it's important. That's why hip hop as a this is like how to support it. Because there's more promotion to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be the rapper. Everybody wants to be the artist. But it can be cool to be the engineer too.
It's more money behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes
than you know. What I'm saying?
For real. And it can be
more
cool.
of those jobs.
Yeah, more of those jobs, and like it can be cool to be that. You're gonna get your credit. You can be a part of something. Not everybody can be the rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fact. So if you learn the boards, if you learn how, and then that can take you to other places. Even with outside of hip hop, that might lead you to something else. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just think promoting that would be cool for sure.
I do feel as though we can't ignore the socio-political aspect of it as well. You can't do anything without funding. Yeah. You can't do anything without grant money, loans, funding, whatever. You need money in this country to function. So, we speak about we need more people technically trained and more people, behind the scenes, behind the camera, on a soundboard, doing lights. But if you look at the wage disparity in Chattanooga, from occupations, it backs you in a corner because it's like I'm asking people to be a part of a village and do this for free when they can't afford,
to do it.
Based on their day job to sacrifice this time without additional profit.
Exactly.
But if we had funding, let alone from the police getting 85% of the city's funding, when I'm gonna be real, since COVID started, I haven't seen a car get pulled over. So where's that money going? Right? I haven't seen drug busts. I haven't seen any anti-terrorist thing. I have not seen the well-being since COVID started. Crime is at an all-time low. Where's that funding going? You know what I mean? So you have public schools, you have music departments that are literally dying.
Vanishing.
After school care, rec centers, kid camps that are suffering, dying. Teachers are having to buy their own school supplies for the class.
Yeah.
But we can buy goggles that show you what it's like to be under the influence of marijuana.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's not accurate.
We can buy $1,200 optics for rifles that probably have never been used in the city of Chattanooga. But if the money is not funneled into the creative spaces, not just safe creative spaces, but all of them, then people are gonna have to continue to do things for profit. And resources are going to continue to be minuscule because the pot of gold is only being passed out to a certain few.
Yeah.
So everybody else is left waiting under the pot for something to fall. And then it's a fight over who gets it. That's survival.
Grimy, you have something?
Yeah. And to be honest, individual artists who don't have all of the credentials, even the ones that are getting a little bit of funding are not getting much. You know what I mean? We see because a lot of the available stuff is very competitive, and then we're competing against major organizations that have been doing this for dozens of years. You know what I mean? So yeah, you gotta put money in the hand of artists and the change makers of the city.
I agree. I think this is a great way to segue into my next question, which is, what does it mean to you? I think Flo might want to be last on this one. But what does it mean to you for hip hop to be recognized for a whole week by the mayor of Chattanooga with the proclamation? I'm start with Grammy, then we'll go to Iggy.
It's cool. We come a long way. Like everybody at this table been doing this for a long time. You know what I mean? And we've all seen the obstacles, so it has a little bit of meaning. But to be honest, you know what I mean? Not it personally. It's symbolic. You know what I mean? What's real, what's tangible is really support it. Make ways for people to have space. Put money in artists' hands. We need to have. There needs to be more access to hip hop artists getting on them stages like Nightfall and the joints at the nights at the Landing joints,
Yeah,
and,
Ross
and
Landing,
other
yeah.
stuff.
It
Or
was just a big festival.
And Coolidge Park.
cool, if you don't want to integrate us into your festivals and whatnot, make space for us to have those amenities. It's Nightfall is one night a week for a few months in the summer. There's plenty of time for there to be a hip hop festival
sure.
and have Miller Park and Miller Plaza. You know what I'm saying? River City can make these type of things happen, and it's frustrating when we see in past years the allocation to certain things like taking a perfectly good Miller Park and renovating it for $14 million, just in my opinion, just to make it less friendly for homeless people sleeping in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we can't find sufficient amount of dollars to put in real change makers that are not just doing arts and entertainment, but also using their spare time to make a difference in their community by putting in that work. You know what I mean? Putting in that energy. So, the proclamation is cool, but until we start seeing hip hop being really supported, the hip hop night at Miller Park and blah blah blah, then I'll really feel good about it. And to be honest, I appreciate the proclamation, man, but our city government, man, got to step it up, man, when it comes to making some decisions that were promised on the campaign trail. That's another segment, man.
That's another
Iggy,
Uh,
how you feel?
yeah, I mean, I feel like Grimey. It's cool. I'm glad that it's being highlighted. Obviously, I'm able to tell the common folk, hey, Hip Hop Week is October. Like, that's something that I can give them to make them aware that, hey, maybe you should focus on this, or the city's backing this. But outside of that, like Grimey said, I mean, I'm all about, I think everybody up here is all about action. Everything's cool visually, like, you know what I mean? Like, first, you can look good signing it, yay, and take a picture and then go on about your way and never really invest. And that's where I have a problem. So like I think the investment behind it is where it's really going to show. And how you give back, how you show that hip hop is a part of this, not can be, but is a part of this community, and build it up and use it as a tool to build Chattanooga. That's where I'm going to see if you really care, if you really back in hip hop. Doing Hip Hop Week, like I said, is cool. And it's cool that we get an opportunity to have that whole week to kind of showcase the city, and that he signed off on it. But outside of that, like I said, it's just a picture. You know what I mean? Like what's behind that picture? What work you doing? Where your footing at? So that's where I'm at with it.
Flo, it's yours.
It don't mean shit to me. Without what's next?
Okay.
Right? Because if you sign a proclamation for Hip Hop Week and it is not fiscally, publicly, and from a media aspect supported by the city, then every week is Hip Hop Week for us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for real.
So just because a piece of paper says you recognizing something that we do 365 days a year really don't mean shit to me. You know what I mean? Are you doing that because you believe in it and you're gonna strive to make change on behalf of hip hop to benefit it during that week? Or are you saying let's give them this because they'll cherish this piece of paper for the next 10 years and that'll be good? What else?
I'm done with that.
That piece of paper means nothing to me. You can have a college degree and still not do a job.
Exactly.
You can still suck at a job.
Exactly.
Or as president. So I don't want to seem, because I don't want to come across as ungrateful. There has not been a mayor in the history of Chattanooga that has done this before.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, but appreciation does not get these young black and brown boys and girls the opportunity that it gets other people in private education establishments and better off families in these circles where they don't have a care in the world as far as where the next meal is coming from, any extracurricular activities. It does not compute to them.
Yeah.
So if this week is going to be used to push knowledge, education, change, a shift in, you know, what the city invests in, then yes, I'm all for Chattanooga Hip Hop Week. But if it's not, I don't need the proclamation because
Yeah.
it's not doing nothing.
Yeah. And to echo and piggyback off that, I feel like with the proclamation, or not even if, I feel like the proclamation has the power within that week to change the perspective of hip hop.
Yeah.
Everything we've been talking about, as far as music venues not feeling like this.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the proclamation now.
Yeah.
The city has something where they can kind of be the mediator in these deals with hip hop in River City, whoever the case may be, you know what I mean? But without them actually, like you said, having the media attention.
The news needs to be
news
covering
would
it
be
during
without-
that week.
We need to
Yeah.
be
The
there.
mayor needs to be
Mayor
covering
needed
it
he
during
need to
that
be
week.
there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we don't just need silent support or sharing a post. We need y'all to come out to some of these dope free
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
And we don't mean just Greg Funderburg either.
No,
Yeah.
We mean listen,
everybody.
I see Greg at these events. I don't really see nobody else.
Yeah,
that's
Greg
true.
there.
It's like they send Greg, like, Greg, these are your
Hey, there you
people.
go.
Go over there.
Take care of that.
Go to Ross Chattanooga. Go talk to them.
Ooh.
But until we see the powers that be actually, I don't care. Until
Hey,
we
send
see
Bill Race out
the
there.
powers that be actually supporting what they're signing a proclamation for, then that piece of paper is just a piece of paper, because the people that do it all year. We don't just do it in October.
Facts.
Same with 423 Day. If you're gonna sign that proclamation next year at the MFA festival, y'all need to be there.
Be
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
I agree. So it might be our last question, but I have one more after this if we can get to it. How would hip hop benefit the local economy? We can start with Iggy, Grimey. I know Flo want to go last.
I have to answer this one.
Okay.
I think this should start with this conversation. Chattanooga's a very art-based city. I think it's very evident as far as when you come here, you see so much art. It's known for its artists. We've had Bessie Smith here. Yep.
Ursher.
Yep. You know what I mean? So we're known for our music. Isaiah. So I feel like that in itself, and these are like, you know, these are universal legends, like, you know what I mean? So like, and even arts, like within arts, you know what I'm saying? So like Genesis, like, you know what I mean?
Genesis, Sammy.
Yeah. So like
Much talent
here. And I think it's shown when it's not black. And I feel like that's how we can help the local economy. It's already a focus of the economy is the arts. Mm-hmm. So if there's a proper backing of hip hop, then it's just going to flourish in itself. We've seen what it has done for other cities in the South, specifically Atlanta, Memphis, New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen hip hop, Miami, even though Miami's also other things too. But we've seen what it does for those cities. So we can do that here. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Grimey, Flo, whichever one.
Yeah, supporting. What's the original question?
Look, how would the hip hop help the local economy?
We understand that hip hop is the number one selling genre when it comes to music streams, when it comes to merchandising, and that's because throughout modern history, the last 100 years plus, we've seen how Black American culture is mimicked all around the world.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting hip hop and helping these up and coming artists and entrepreneurs will give them a stream of revenue that can help them get out of the poverty stricken case that too many Black and brown Americans are in Chattanooga. We understand what the median income is when it comes to the state of Tennessee, and we understand what the median income is to what Black people are making in this city, and it's ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It's ugly. It's damn near a quarter of median income what Black families are making in this city. So supporting the arts, supporting Black artists directly, is one way that we start negating this sick cycle of generational poverty, man. You know what I mean? And it goes deep. But Chattanooga is like my brother was saying, a city where we've seen startup artists be supported and take those dope talents that Chattanooga is known for to a global level. You know what I'm saying? So
Multiple.
So we could go on and on.
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And-
saying?
and-
Like, it's just all over the place. Like, you
And
know,
if we want that they promote Chattanooga as a tourism spot destination, if you want that to be true, then you need to cultivate the culture that is here. Because, or do we just want one type of tourist to be here? Because
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Great
So
question.
support MF and hip hop.
Yeah. Flowing.
Flow.
Last words.
Yeah. You look at the disparity of, again, wages, and you look at the type of crime that's being focused. I don't think people understand that a lot of crime happens as a lack of opportunity and a lack of outlet. If you have nothing to do and nobody that'll hire you, you will resort to whatever you can to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that the city needs to necessarily invest in hip hop as an essence of music, but hip hop as an essence of the culture that surrounds it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you had a grant for an entity, think how many people can be paid through that grant. Think how many outlets of opportunity, of employment, of mentorship, of showing that there's a different way than what you've seen. Think about what those do. You give people something to do. You give them idle hands are the devil's work.
Yeah.
You give those hands something to do. You take away the devil's work. You still gonna have crime. Crime happens within proximity of where people live.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's why we have a police force that has so much money. But you could allocate that money elsewhere to mitigate the crime. And when the mayor wants to sit down, I have a business plan for a nonprofit rec center that stresses education first, and then teaches life class development and skill set that can be utilized in the current workforce that is not taught in the scholastic system currently. If he wants to sit down and hear that business plan, because your membership is determined by your GPA.
Yeah.
So
That's
there are
cool.
ways to formulate kids and youth and the impressionable to work hard and play harder. But without funding for that, you throwing them to the wolves.
Yeah.
And then you furthering the agenda that we complain about. You say there's no agenda, but there's no change.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you know.
That was the last words. We appreciate y'all for tuning in with us, Chattanooga versus Hip Hop panel. Peace.
Peace.
Chattanooga
Appreciate
Hip Hop
y'all.
Summit, October 16th. Register now,
Let's
motherfucker.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Free.
Turn up. Pull up. We'll be there.
Gotta let folks know this stuff is free.
We're free on that.